Start the recording. All right. Okay, this is the fourth training we're holding on a Saturday for the TNLOA, and this TNLOA training is going to be over dead ball and fight mechanics. Here's what will be covered in today's presentation: dead ball positioning with 2 and 3 man mechanics 4, readying the ball for a restart, equipment inspections and timeouts, fouls to look for, fight mechanics, and TNLOA procedure following ejections. I would like to make sure that everyone is muted real quick, please. Okay. Sorry about that. You can always unmute if you have a question, or you can type it in the chat as well. So, face-off rule 4.3. Before a face-off, we have to ready the field for play. In readying the field for play in this dead ball situation, we will check the number of players on the field for legality. We're going to check for wing players on the wing side of the fields on the face-off, check face-off player sticks for legality, as well as the ball. We're going to do the hold signal and then the ready signal upon the field being set. The wing officials will always have silent signals. We're always going to do silent signals during this procedure. There's no reason to be audible during this process, but if you have to be, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine to be audible in these situations. Out of bounds. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this. Out of bounds. Anytime a player possesses the ball and touches on or beyond a out of bounds line, or plays the ball while any part of their body touches the out of bounds line, that player has committed a line violation foul. It is a technical foul to step out of bounds while possessing the ball. It'll be a non-time serving foul and a turnover unless it's a shot on goal. Any team can call a timeout following a line violation and before the restart. If you look at that picture, it's a great example of phenomenal positioning. That face-off official is right there, ready to call that out of bounds. Out of bounds calls are where we're going to make good money. We're going to sell calls. We're going to be loud, demonstrative, and as concise as possible when making an out of bounds line violation call. Any line violation, we must be in the right position to make these calls. Big time note, a player who jumps or leaps out of bounds and while over the line and in the air touches the ball while in the air, the player is not out of bounds. You are where you last were. If you jump from inbounds, you are out of bounds in the air. You are not out of bounds until you touch out of bounds. This is very, very important when it comes to quick offsides penalties. I've had them. I know most people have had them. Offensive guy charging towards the corner of the offensive side, defensive side of the field. He's trying to get that last second check in. He jumps over the offensive side of the field and lands out of bounds. He's not offsides. If he touches the ground, the field of play, then he's offsides. But if he leaps over it, he's not offsides. You are where you last were. The same thing happens with crease play. You are where you last were. That's why lacrosse, we require players to be grounded when they're shooting the ball. If they're grounded while they shoot the ball and then go into the crease and the ball goes into the goal before they touch the crease, they are where they last were. Remember that call. All out of bounds calls. Hand goes up when you blow the whistle, point the direction of attack, and leave it there. Do not put your hand down. Leave your hand up in the direction of attack until the guy picks up the ball. As soon as he picks up the ball, then you can put your hand back up and ready to play. Here's why that's important. And this is a quick story, so here it is. I had a game, summer tournament with a new official. 30 seconds left in the game. Hardcore rivals. Number 1, number 2 in the division, first game of the tournament. My partner, far side of the field, signals the wrong direction. Says the correct color, but signals the wrong direction. And I'm 60 yards away on the other side of the field. I signal that direction. Every player on my side of the field looks at me pointing this way when the ball is going that way. He got it wrong. He blew the whistle in for play. Goal scored. 25 seconds left on a running time game. Now they're in the lead. Because of his error, the game was going to end. If you make a mistake, let's say it's blue ball is going this direction, but you signal this direction, and you go, tweet, blue ball, you realize you're pointing the wrong way, tweet, blue ball, correct yourself. It's okay. You made a mistake, just correct yourself. It's so simple. Because the biggest thing is if you're on the far side of the field and you signal the wrong direction and all of a sudden both teams see you and they start substituting, it's your fault if they're now offsides or they got too many guys in the field. It's your fault. Kill the play, let them get back off the field and signal the other direction. Kill the play. Make these short and concise and accurate. If you make a mistake, who cares? It's a dead ball situation. It's not an inverted whistle. Just correct yourself. Restarts following an out of bounds. We are using the quick restart, college mechanic. Now the quick restart is only for 12U and up. JV, middle school and down does not use the quick restart. Everyone must be outside of 5 yards. The quick restart, the official shall restart the play quickly and concisely. The player in possession may not, keyword, be given a running start. Be allowed to restart the ball away from where the ball was called dead. Be allowed to restart the ball with a teammate within 5 yards. The player in possession may not be impeded by the opposing team within 5 yards. These rules we have to keep really, really tight. Because if you restart the play and there's a defensive guy 1 yard away from him, it's a delay of game penalty. If you look over here underneath that picture, a clear path to the goal is exactly what the U.S. lacrosse guidelines outline. Also, if there is a turnover, the player must drop the ball and not roll it away from the spot of the restart. That's a delay of game penalty. They must drop it. Command them, drop the ball. If they roll it away, it's a delay of game penalty. Now, if they roll it a yard or two, we can give them that. But if they roll it more than 3 or 4 yards, throw the flag. It's a delay of game penalty. Don't be giving people the benefit of the doubt. No, he rolled the ball away. It's a delay of game penalty. Clear pass to the goal is the really, really important one. The guy can be within 5 yards, 5-yard halo around that player. That's perfectly fine. But he cannot play the offensive player until he gains a 5-yard distance. That means he has to run away from the play. We did have a comment come in. Let me check that comment real quick. John asked, how long are we going to wait for the teammate in possession with a new possession to get 5 yards away? 5 seconds. Same thing we give to goalies. We give goalies 5 seconds to get back in the crease whenever we kill the play.
And are we going to verbalize at the same time that, all right, you need to back the new offensive teammate, that they need to back up, or are we just going to start a mechanic?
Just say, hey, White, back up, back up, back up. And if he sees you counting, he's going to move. Just say, back up, back up, back up, back up. And again, like if the white guy or if the white team is possessing the ball and the white guy is close to his teammate, he's now killing his team's fast restart. Mm-hmm. That's no skin off our teeth. Now that guy and that coach are going to be pissed off, not at us,
yeah,
at the team.
I'm waiting for the coach to be in the ear because we didn't give him his fast restart. That's
Right.
what I'm instructing.
If the player's within 5 yards, say back up, back up, back up. And if you're verbalizing it and you're counting really big, demonstrative, the coach is not going to have much to say if you're being demonstrative with your calls. Okay, let me get back into the sharing real quick. Okay, and play. Okay. Okay, so this is a video. This is multiple things happening during this video. Let me kill this. We're going to watch it a couple of times. So red has possession of the ball, running towards the sideline. The official's in the correct position. He's right on the 50. Ball rolls out of bounds. Referee calls a holding on white, signals it to red because white pulled him down to the ground. He tells the red guy where the ball is going to restart. Watch where white is. Restart now. White is within 5 yards. It's a delay of game. Let's watch it one more time. So this is white's defending and red's attacking. White is within 5 yards when the play is blown. When the play is blown live, means they cannot play the team possessing the ball. Flag down for delay of game is what the penalty is going to be. You can see red has the ball. 3 white players are right there. Blew the whistle. That's a flag down delay of game. Now, here's the big thing, though, to remember in this. During this penalty, since there's multiple players down, we're just going to throw 1 flag for this one. We're not going to throw 2 or 3 flags for 3 players being in a delay game. We're going to throw 1 flag. Penalize the guy that's closest. Let's do that. Let's penalize the guy that's closest to where the ball is. So in this scenario, we have 21, 47, and 28. We're going to penalize 28 because he was closest. He's going to be the one that's going to get that delay of game penalty. Mechanics for out of bounds restarts, just like the one we had. Be in the correct position to make the best call and sell the call. Confidence goes a long way when you're the only one that sees an infraction. If you're the only one that sees the guy's toe on the line and it's right next to a coach, sell it. Sell it as big as you possibly can. Make sure that your partners know the call as well. We never want to see a contested sideline call, contested line violation foul, and the official making that call going, tweet, blue, and just sitting there. Tweet, blue, 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 blue. Like let's say it. Say what it is and hold it there until the guy picks up the ball. Let's get out of the habit of going tweet, blue, and then immediately putting our hand back up like we're getting ready for play again. We're not getting ready for play until he picks up the ball. Let's make sure we leave our hand there so the other officials know what direction it's going. The coaches know what direction it's coming. Big thing, those substitution coaches know what direction it's going. So we're going to hold our hand there until he picks up the ball. When he picks up the ball, hand back up, tell him where you want that ball to restart. Hey, you're right here, brother. You're right here. Once he gets there, blow the whistle, wheel it into play. So our mechanic is hold signal, blow the whistle, ready signal in the direction of attack, back to hold, possession. Those are our 4 mechanics for any time it's an out of bounds line violation call. But sell it. The best you can, sell the call. Now, these next ones are going to be you make the call. You make the call, or it's on the next few slides. The green arrow points at is the point of the location of the out of bounds. I want you to tell me who has the out of bounds call and then who has the restart, because they can be different. Remember, which direction is the play? Where did the ball go out of bounds? Is it a quick or settled restart? And big thing, time left in the game. If there's 10 seconds left in the game and they want a quick restart, a lot of the mechanics kind of fly out the window. If there's a referee right next to it, let that referee blow it in. Time left in the game is a real big thing. The blue circle is the one that's going to have the out of bounds call. the orange circle is going to have the restart. This will make more sense when you see the next slide. Also, reset. All line violations shall result in a reset of clearing counts. Every line violation, both teams, will result in a reset of clearing count because it is a technical foul violation. Any technical foul will reset all clearing counts. A personal foul, flag down, slow whistle, that's the FDSW, it's supposed to say will not reset the counts unless the play becomes dead. A personal foul will not reset the counts. Only a technical foul will reset counts. Personal fouls, flag downs will not reset our counts. Okay. Before we get into those, you make the calls. Alex still on? Tell me how many penalties there are on this. The ball is going to come towards us, right towards the camera. Blue players, ball's down on the ground. White player's running towards it. White player picks up the ball. Ball's down again. Blue player pushes him from the front out of bounds when he possesses the ball. Blue player picks up the ball. Restart. Now, I don't know if it's really, really jumpy for you guys. I'm not sure if the video is nice and clean, but let's watch it one more time. How many flags, how many fouls are we going to have on this play? Have fun with this one. Woody, what do you think?
Well, it's hard to see, by the way, but I mean, it's hard to, there's no sound. So I'm assuming that the push out of bounds, quick whistle, ball's going to blue.
Right.
I'm assuming that the ref blows the whistle.
He does.
I mean, I see an immediate slash within 5 yards. I'm not sure if we're supposed to call both, but I think you got to call the delay game for the encroachment within 5 yards, but it was also a slash. And then the other player comes in with a slash. So I think the last one might be a dead ball slash, but I can't tell with the whistle, but I at least have 3.
Yeah.
I have the delay game and a slash on one player, and then I didn't get the number. I see 14, but I didn't see the other one. And then another slash. That one was pretty bad when he came in at the end there.
Well, let me play it one more time, and I'm going to tell you where the whistle takes place. The sound comes in really weird on a secondary scale, so I'll tell you when the whistle's blown. I'll tell you when it's blown dead and when it comes back into play. So play's active right now. Blue has the ball. He drops it because he doesn't know what he's doing. Now they're playing field hockey. Ball still down. White picks up the ball. White drops the ball. Ball's coming out of bounds. He picks up the ball. Whistle. Whistle.
Oh, as a slash.
Whistle.
Oh,
Hey,
I didn't see.
Hey,
It's a little
Gene,
choppy there.
Yeah. What do you think, Alan?
when the guy's coming in and does the push from in the front, what
Yeah.
about a defenseless player?
I would be hard pressed to possibly call a defenseless player in this instance.
I mean,
I think it's just because the players were right next to each other when the contact was being made in the initial case. And I think since this is high school, if it was middle school, yeah, we might be able to get away with that. But
it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it's more really from the side and not from the back. The player knows he's there, and I think it's really based on the situation. We're not on this field. We're making a judgment call from a third-person perspective.
Right.
The penalties that I see is the delay of game is one. That's one flag. A player that comes in secondary, slash, plays dead. Now you have 2 more slashes, 1 on each player. So I have 4 penalties. 3 on one player, and 1 on another player. And 2 of those dead ball fouls.
And Gene, you definitely, when you played it again, you could see that player did commit quite a bit. And I would say the referee you don't know what they're saying here, but the 5 yard, you want to give the 5 yard whistle, but I would say from a dead ball mechanic, I mean, I'm screaming, back up, back up, back up before I'm blowing this
I
whistle.
agree.
And
No,
you almost have to immediately come flying in and protect the player as soon as that 5 yard contact's made. Does he go out of bounds? But the ref's obviously really close to this because it's the 50-yard line. Well, who knows? We don't actually see the ref, but we hope that the ref is around here somewhere. But
it's a 3-man mechanic game. There's a referee over on this side. There's a single side that's right here, and then there's a trail that's up here. I'm going to play it with the sound. Here's why dead ball officiating is so important. This is on the away side of the field. This is where the parents are. Listen to all the reactions that are occurring. Like Woody said, in this situation, let's settle it and not quick restart it based on the situation.
She wants to stand. No, I don't. Westchester used to wear a red and white helmet.
Parents just talking right now.
No, he was the face-off kid, I think. Tyler, yeah, Tyler, wheel. Oh, no, coming out. Uh-oh. Good tough. Oh, come on, guys.
So you heard that first one was to the helmet. He got him up here. Here's the big thing. I think at one point we need to now escalate to unsportsmanlike conduct in this instance. I think that's warranted because one player slashes 3 times. The first one we give him the slash. The second and third ones, we might be looking at now, let's escalate this and maybe lock it in. Be like, let's penalize this the way we need to penalize it. Biggest thing, since it was right there next to the parents, as an official, we need to really look at maybe slowing it down a second and getting it away from our parents in this time, just because parents can make situations so much worse. So much worse. Ed says he has three slashes. He said he has a push, a delay, and then a dead ball. Well, here's the thing, Ed, if you have a push first, it would be a push with possession, which means the play would have never restarted. Because a push with possession, now it goes out of bounds. Now we have a dead ball situation. The play would have never restarted if we had a push in the back first. Then he said, should that one player be ejected for aggressively slashing 3 times? If you deem it necessary and the game, how it's been going so far, now it's getting super chippy, maybe this is your chance to set an example. An ejection for slashing numerous times, especially because numerous ones were dead ball, I would say go for it. This is what's not needed in the sport of lacrosse at all. Woody, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to say one more thing for the newer officials here. It's important to know that 5-yard rule actually has to do with you too. You're gonna, I mean, not the 5-yard rule, the quick restart. You can always say that you're not ready. Like, blame yourself in this situation. Like, so if I see this, exactly what you're saying, Gene, high pressure situation, it's the middle of the field. The chances of this player picking up the ball and scoring immediately are very, very low. All right. I mean, he's going to have to run down the field, but sure, you want to give him an advantage, but there's no harm to just say tweet. And, you know, if the coaches or people are going to say quick restart, just say, hey, I'm not ready yet, guys. Back up, give me some space here. Parents, we got to get some space. Like, find any excuse you can, because that was a pretty good little push out of bounds. There's high tension there. There's no need to just add fuel to the fire by blowing the whistle with a quick restart in that situation, if you think it's going to turn into something really bad, right? Which it kind of did there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's no one's going to shame you for blowing your whistle multiple times and running in to a play to calm everything down. Remember, half of our job as officials is to de-escalate situations. That is half of our job. We need to have mental jujitsu in tricking people to do what we want them to do. Like, de-escalation is key as an official. If we're heated, they're heated. And I watched a training the other day, heard a great quote. If your antagonist causes you to become an antagonist, they now control you. Let's think about that. If your antagonist causes you to become an antagonist, they control you. If a coach makes you super heated where you become heated, they now own you. If a parent makes you angry and now you get angry because they're angry in the first place, they now own you. De-escalation is key, especially in that one slide we watched. De-escalate, just calm down. Let's slow everything down a second and do a settled restart instead of a quick restart. Okay, these next one are you make the call. Now let's look at your mechanics real quick. Let's see how good your mechanics are on restarts. The ball direction, look at that first. This is a 3-man mechanic. We are doing 3-man and 2-man on this, 3-man. So we have a lead, a single, and a trail. The ball goes out of bounds is the green marker. I want you guys to tell me who has the out of bounds call and who has the restart. So in this instant, who has the out of bounds and who has the restart? Bermuda Triangle. Yeah. No, that's spot on. Bermuda Triangle. We need to pull this out of that Bermuda Triangle, that triangle right there on bench side. This official is going to have both calls. Pull it out. This official is going to call both. Any restart we have in this area right here, stop the play. We're not going to quick restart this and pull it out here and restart it out here. Very, 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 very much spot on. So this trail is going to have the out of bounds call and the restart. Okay, what about this one? We're going to have the same thing. You can unmute and just say it. Who's going to have the out of bounds call and who's going to have the restart? It's closer to the lead. So is the lead going to have the out of bounds and the restart?
Trail.
The trail is going to have both. Bermuda Triangle again. The lead doesn't need to make this call. He has his own responsibility, which is the freaking goal. Let him take the goal. The trail take this call. If the lead also calls it out of bounds, that's perfectly fine. But he's not going to have the restart. Absolutely not going to have the restart. Okay, ball's on the opposite side of the field next to the single. Ball goes out of bounds right here. Remember, the blue circle is the out of bounds call and the orange circle is the restart. So who's going to have the out of bounds call? The single is, because it's his sideline. But who's going to have the restart? The trail. The trail is going to have the restart in this instance. The trail is always going to have restarts on that side of the field. If the ball's on that side of the field, he is going to be the one who's going to restart this play every single time. What about right here this time, though? This is a quick restart.
Single has both.
Single is going to have both. That's exactly right. Single is going to have both restarts because this is a quick restart scenario. Now we're in a settled situation. Lead is in his position. Single is in his position. Trail is in his position. This is a settled play situation. Ball goes out of bounds on the far sideline. Who's going to have the out of bounds and the restart? Well, the single is going to have both in this instance. The reason the single is going to have this is because it's in the alley. What about here? Green area is where the ball goes out of bounds. Who's going to have the out of bounds call and who's going to have the restart?
The trail has both.
Both.
The trail is going to have both. That's exactly right. The trail is going to take all out of bounds calls on that side of the field. What about here? It could be on a shot. It could be on a pass. Same thing as before. The trail is still going to take both of these calls. What about up here, though? Ball goes out of bounds right here. Who's going to have the out of bounds call and who's going to have the restart?
Single out of bounds, trail restart.
That's right. Single's going to have the out of bounds call. Trail's going to have the restart. Trail's in the best position to make this restart. Single is going to be the one that takes it because it's his sideline to make it. What about down here? The lead is going to have both. The inline is the lead's responsibility. Same thing right here. The lead is going to have the entire inline. Same thing right here. The lead is going to take both of them. Now, this is where it gets a little fluffy. When I'm refereeing a game, and let's say I'm the lead, and let's say Ken is the trail, I might call this out of bounds, this inline thing, but I might look at Ken and say, hey, Ken, you restart it so I can stay in the box. I might have Ken restart it. That's up to you and your partners.
Gene, on the example before where it was not quite behind the crease or directly behind the goal, would that not be a case where the lead, while he has inline responsibility for out of bounds, might want to go back into position and maybe have either the single side call the restart just so the lead can get off of the end line and get back away a little bit?
Right here? Is that the one you're talking about? So
yes.
I leave that more up to you. I think the biggest thing is since the lead's looking that direction and he can see the goal as well, the lead should take both. The only reason I say from the other perspective of right around in this alley that you could separate it is because now it's behind the lead's back. So now he has to completely turn his body open. That's why you can have that option. But yes, if it's in the alley, you can leave that up to the lead to say, hey, you restart. But most of the time, shots are always a quick restart scenario. Very seldom is it a settled restart. Once that guy picks up the ball, he wants the ball to restart, right? So we got to be kind of quick. If we have a chance to like talk about it and like point and look at each other and communicate, we can make those determinations with each other. And that's why, communication is very, very important. But biggest thing is the main responsibilities of each person is the trail is taking all sideline calls on his side, and any restart within this alley and above the restraining line, that's the trail's restart responsibility. The singles restart or out of bounds responsibility is this entire inline and within the alley. The lead's responsibility is the entire inline and restarting on the inline unless he communicates with his partners and says for something in the alley to be restarted by one of the other officials because they're in a better position to restart, or it takes the lead out of position. Because let's say the lead wants to make this restart. Well, really the lead needs to be all the way out here to make that call. And to be honest, we can do that because you have a second partner over here who would sink in, but that's more up to you and the communication of you and your partners to make that call on the field. Okay, mechanics for out of bounds. Following any line violation, all other officials must signal ready by pointing in the direction of attack. I know that I'm guilty of it just like everyone else is. If we have situations on the field where we're running up and down the field 6 or 7 times and we're tired, no matter what, we still have to give our ready signal. Because half of us on the field, remember, we're the third team on the field. We got to communicate with each other. Half of our communication is nonverbal. Since half of our communication is nonverbal on the field, we communicate via signals. If we're on a game and someone restarts play, but one official's not ready and he has his hand up saying hold, and we restart the play, well, all of a sudden that official's not ready. Now he has to kill the play. Let's say they scored a goal. Well, field wasn't ready. We have to look at each other and communicate when we do a restart. Now, super quick restarts, not always necessary, but settled restarts, we have to look at each other. Signal the direction of attack. Communicate with your partners non-verbally through our signals by signaling the direction of attack. Consistency is key. Echo every single visual and, if needed, vocally. If we're not ready, hey, hold up. If we're ready, that's just a nonverbal signal. But if we're not ready, it might be a chance for you to, and if it looks like they're getting ready for play, tweet, hold. Because obviously he didn't look up at you. Communicate with each other, both visually and verbally if needed. Okay, now this is out of bounds. Same thing, but this is the two-man mechanic. Direction of play is still the same, but we now have, this is a transition scenario. Who has the out of bounds call and who's going to have the restart? This is the two-man mechanic. So in this situation, this is still kind of the Bermuda Triangle. The lead is going to have the out of bounds call and the trail is going to have the restart. Let the lead blow this out of bounds, lead pull it in, and then get down, let the trail restart it. This side of the field, remember our sideline responsibilities. Lead's going to call it, pull it in away from the sideline, trail's going to restart it. Oh, I did that slide twice. Now we're in a settled situation. Lead's in his position, trail is in his position. Restart right behind the goal is going to be both the lead. Again, the lead's going to take all of his inline. That's the trail sideline. That's still the trail sideline. This side, though, trail is going to have the restart, lead's going to have the out of bounds. Lead's going to have both of them because it's in his alley. Same thing as before. Trail's restart responsibility is all above the restraining line in his alley and anything on his sideline. Lead's responsibility is to call all inline calls, both restart and out of bounds. In his alley, both restart and out of bounds. Above the restraining line, he's going to call out of bounds, but not the restart. Let's make sure our mechanics are quick and concise and we communicate with each other. If you want to do something different than these mechanics, just communicate with your partner. Just talk to them on the field. That's all we have to do. Request for inspection or long cross. During a dead ball, a coach may request an equipment inspection. At any time, a coach may request a count of long crosses. There can be no more than 4 on the field, and the goalie does not count as part of that long cross mechanic. A team in violation of the long cross rule will be assessed an illegal procedure foul. So going back over that one more time, rule 227 through 28. During a dead ball situation, a coach may request for an equipment inspection or a request for long crosses. A coach cannot request a long cross inspection during live ball play. He has to wait for the play to be killed. Now, that's something I didn't realize until I went back and read through the rules. It must be during a dead ball play that a request is made. A coach is only given one free inspection or request of long cross, one for free. I'll get that question in a second. Assuming no violations were found on the first inspection, the second request, if found to be legal, will cause the team asking to lose a timeout. So let's say that a coach asks, hey, I'd like number 23's, I want a stick check on number 23. Cool. The dead ball situation, we kill the play, we check the player. When we check the player on an inspection, we check his whole body. Check his cleats, check his gloves, shoulder pads, helmet, mouthpiece, stick. We check everything on his person. If he is legal, the coach gets another one, but if it's wrong and his second request is wrong, he loses a timeout. If he doesn't have any more timeouts, it's an illegal procedure penalty. It's either a turnover or he gets a guy thrown in the box for 30 seconds. He loses a timeout on a second one if the first one is found to be legal. If it's found to be illegal, he still gets another free one, but he only gets a maximum of 2 during the entire course of a game. It's just like a coach's challenge in football. It's the exact same way, okay? So the first one, if it's illegal, he gets another one. That one doesn't matter if it's illegal or legal, doesn't matter. If the first one is found to be legal though, the second one If it's illegal, he's fine. He's capped at 2. But if it's found to be legal, like the first one, he loses a timeout. If he has no more timeouts, you assess a technical foul, illegal procedure on the coach. Now, here's another thing, and this is a rumor that's been thrown around, and then I'll get to that chat question. A coach may request a check of any stick on the field. Is that true or false? If there is a stick on the field, a coach may ask, I would like that stick checked. Is that true or false? I'm asking, you guys can chime in. It's okay if you're wrong or right. Okay, if no one's gonna chime
Doesn't
in.
the stick have to be used
Well,
in the play of game, in the gameplay?
I
thought he could.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I thought he could check any stick in the bench area as well. It could be a stick that just came off the field.
Correct, but he must request a player.
Right.
A lot of times coaches have sticks. That is off limits. An equipment inspection is for a player. The coach, when we're requesting that inspection, must request a player's number. I want number 23 inspected. It can be a player who hasn't played. But if you see some random stick who's traditionally strung with leather and looks like it's from the 70s and is 100% illegal, if it's not in a player's hand, it cannot be checked. A coach's stick cannot be checked. A goalie stick can be checked. A face-off player stick can be checked, but it must be a player doing the equipment inspection. It cannot be some random stick on the field. Cannot be. Is there new COVID protocol for stick inspections, one official only? No, not right now. The biggest thing is if us officials are around each other and we're on the field, we need to have a face covering on. If we're within 6 feet of each other this is a dead ball situation, just like before, any dead ball situation, we need to have a face covering on. Since equipment inspections are only done during dead balls, we are going to have face coverings on. As for a mechanic, for only being one official, if that comes up, I am going to say no. We need multiple people looking at sticks, not just one person. So just make sure if we're within 6 feet, we have a face covering on. It's the CDC recommendation. It's a CDC guideline. So in a dead ball situation, which an equipment inspection is, we will have a face covering on, just like I mentioned before in the policy. Since it's a dead ball, we will have a face covering on. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, let me do that. All equipment inspections must be done during dead ball situations. That's what I was talking about before. Officials shall check randomly the equipment of 2 players in between the first and second and third and fourth quarters. A coach's request for inspection does not count towards the official's duties to check crosses. So we have to check sticks twice during the game. If a coach asks, it doesn't take one of ours away. We still have to check twice. Now, US lacrosse also says that you can check between the first and second periods, third and fourth periods, timeouts, or any dead ball situation is when we can check a stick. Now, I know myself, I like to check sticks the first time out of the game and between the first and second quarters. I want to get them out of the way because sticks are just going to become more illegal during the course of a game. But that is up to you and your partners what you choose to do. Big thing, we will not check sticks if there's a penalty already in the penalty box. If a team has someone in the penalty box, we are not going to check a stick of either team. So let's make sure we're aware of what's happening on the field. If there's someone in the penalty area, we are not going to check a stick. We're not going to do an equipment inspection when there's already someone in the penalty area.
Even if the coach requests?
If the coach requests, that's a different story. That's just for our inspection. A coach inspection can happen during any time, but our inspections, we're not going to do it when there's a penalty in the box. Thank you for making that connection, Alex. I appreciate that. That is 100% spot on. Thank you for saying that. This next slide is who's going to check which stick in the 2-man mechanic. The officials will grab the cross from a player whose bench is directly in front of them, and also remember to get the ball. Wherever the ball is, the official closest grab the ball. But in this situation, in a two-man mechanic, the trail is going to grab the home bench, the lead's going to grab the away bench. Just grab a player that's closest to you. You don't have to run all the way over to the bench to grab a player. And also remember the number of the player whose cross you check. Same diagram, officials are in a different spot on the field. You're grabbing the bench that's in front of you. Same thing, grabbing the bench that's in front of you. In the three-man mechanic, though, the single needs to be responsible for grabbing the ball if it's not already close to one of the other officials. Trail's going to grab the home bench, lead's going to grab the away bench. Remember the number of the person you grab. Same diagram as before, you're grabbing the bench that's in front of you.
One little thing I always do
Go
that
ahead.
might help you here is always keep an extra ball in my back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's the end of a quarter and somebody throws the ball all the way down the field, you might not even be anywhere near the ball, and we don't want to waste time chasing the ball around. So I always try to keep an extra ball in my back pocket.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely noticed with when I ref with Alex, is he always has that ball with him, and I think that's a personal preference, is what you like to do. If you want to keep a ball with you, that's perfectly fine. I know usually when I'm officiating in the game, I want a ball to be sitting on the table at all times. So that's kind of up to you and your crew of what you choose to do. This slide is the mechanic for checking the crosses. After retrieving the cross, the officials will proceed to the middle of the field and check for cross dimensions and pocket depth. One official should measure the cross and the other should check the pocket for legality. So in this instance, this is a two-man mechanic. I have it listed as LT, but in this instance, it's going to be RU. The referee is going to be the one that's going to be doing all the measuring, and the umpire is going to be the one that's going to be checking the ball depth. The umpire is going to have his back to the bench. The referee is going to have facing the bench. We always want to have at least one official facing the bench. Always, 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 always. In the three-man mechanic, we have a referee, an umpire, and a field judge. The referee is going to be the one that's going to check those crosses. Uses tape measure. The other officials are going to be the one that's going to look at the pocket depth. We're looking at legality for the pocket. Following an equipment inspection, we're going to write down what we're doing. So following the inspection, the official shall write down the number of the player inspected. We're going to write down the number of the player inspected. On this card, it's on the left-hand side. This is a front and then a back. The front is on the left-hand side. At the very top of the card where you see the captains, right below it says stick checks. That's where you'll write the number of the player you stick checked. The back of the card is if you find it to be illegal. Remember that all penalties for illegal crosses shall be a 2-minute non-releasable unsportsmanlike conduct, except for long strings and butt-end infractions. A long string or a butt-end infraction, if we catch it, we just tell him to fix it. If he doesn't fix it, then it becomes a penalty. But a deep pocket penalty, an illegal cross, illegal gloves, all of those are 2-minute non-releasable unsportsmanlike conduct plays. There's no more 1-minute deep pocket penalties and 3-minute illegal stick penalties. Also, all stick penalties, the player can fix the cross and return it to play. It no longer stays at the table for the entire game. So if a player's cross is found to be illegal, you assess him a 2-minute non-releasable unsportsmanlike penalty, and then give him that 2 minutes in the box to fix his stick, and he can come right back in. The stick is not taken away from him anymore. At any time live ball play has ended or been suspended, a dead ball scenario has begun. Let's remember that. Lacrosse does not stop. Even during dead ball situations, lacrosse does not stop. Keep your eyes up and stay vigilant when we're on the field. Here's the most common dead ball fouls. Most common technical fouls that are dead ball are delay of game and conduct fouls. Most common personal fouls during dead ball scenarios are illegal body checks, unnecessary roughness, /USC, defenseless player, and targeting. These are the most common personal fouls that occur in a dead ball scenario. Remember that technical fouls, if called on the team not possessing, shall be a 30-second foul. A technical foul called on the team possessing the ball is just a turnover, even in a dead ball scenario. Personal fouls can be between 1 and 3 minutes, releasable or non-releasable. This is why this is important. This next one is to make sure you're not ball watching. For new officials, you'll hear us say this over the lots and lots of times. Watch the shooter. Blue is shooting on red goalie. When he shoots, no matter if he scores or does not score, all of the officials have their zones. The only person that should be watching that ball go towards the goal is the official who has goal responsibility. Both of the other officials shall watch the shooter because that defender is going to kill him. We have to watch because since most shots are going to be either in the goal or out of bounds, if a hit comes late, we have a dead ball foul. So if the ball is in the goal or the ball is out of bounds and then the player gets hit, that is a dead ball foul. Let's make sure that we're communicating with each other, watching the shooter, knowing our responsibilities on the field. A couple of game film scenarios. So this is a blindside block. Now, in lacrosse, we don't have the terminology of blindside block. All we're going to call is defenseless player. This player is running down the field. His head is looking away from the play. A player comes up behind him and hits him. This is not a dead ball play. This is a live ball play for defenseless player. This next one is another live ball play, but it is a late hit. We'll watch it again. Player shoots and is hit. This is a late hit, and it is a cross check for late, and it's a late hit. So we just need to make sure that we're, number one, communicating on the field, but also number two is always watching the shooter, knowing if you are the official responsible for where the ball is or responsible for the other side. I want you to watch this official that's close to us. He follows the ball. His head turns and he follows the ball. And he misses that late hit. He misses this illegal contact down here on the right-hand side. This is a single-side official in a three-man game, and he didn't call it. As a reminder of what the common dead ball fouls are: technical fouls, delay of game and conduct, personal fouls, illegal body check, unnecessary roughness slash, unsportsmanlike conduct or USC, defenseless player, and targeting. Fight mechanics. Unfortunately, I couldn't put any fight videos into my PowerPoint because of the YouTube have to be 18 and older rule. So I'm going to exit out of my PowerPoint here in a second. We're going to watch some fight mechanics. Any player who attempts to deliberately strike an opponent must be ejected with a 3-minute not releasable unsportsmanlike conduct. Anytime someone is ejected, it is a 3-minute unsportsmanlike conduct. It doesn't matter if he even makes contact. Deliberately attempting to strike an opponent must be an ejection. Now, this can be with the cross if we need it to be. If a guy takes a 180-degree slash and makes contact with a player to a player's head, and we know he wasn't trying to do anything except for hurt the kid, eject him. The official shall freeze the sidelines. The official shall not interject in the altercation physically. Protect yourself. We must protect ourselves in all situations if a fight is going to happen on a field. Biggest thing is, in a fight mechanic, is we have to freeze the benches. We have to freeze the sidelines. How do we do that? We yell as loud as we possibly can. Number one, as soon as a fight occurs, throw your flag blow the whistle, kill everything, kill the play if there's a fight on the field. Kill the play, yell freeze as loud as you can with both hands up. As soon as you note to everyone on the field that a freeze is in order, anyone that steps on the field is now an ejection. You can now eject anyone who steps on the field. Freeze everyone who's off the field. Now, your involvement in a fight, this isn't like hockey where the referees drop their whistle on the field and run in to separate players. That's not what we're told to do. Stay on your whistle the entire time, keep blowing your whistle, and try to get them separated. Try to get them separated. If players join in, this is a scenario based. If players are trying to pull other players like away from each other, that's different. But if players are joining in, now we have additional ejections. The reason I would rather you not interject into a fight is because it gives you an opportunity to start remembering numbers. Because in a high tense, high emotional situation, your short-term memory goes away. It gives you a chance to remember numbers. What I recommend you do in a fight scenario is scream the number out loud. 23, 45, and just keep saying it over and over and over again, because it'll help you remember, and now everyone else can hear exactly who these penalties are on. So in these scenarios, in these fights, multiple different levels that we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch 3 or 4 of them. Let me kill this sound real quick. So we have red versus white. Still live ball play, still fine. Now we have a problem. Problem's escalating. Referee comes in. Referee's trying to interject. Both referees are in there, pulling players away. Number one is just protect yourself. These kids have titanium sticks and they're flinging their sticks around. You don't want to get hit in the face. Now I'm going to unmute it. Okay, I'm going to discuss 2 things with this. Number one, there's only 2 officials on the field during this game. One official needs to be in charge of the fight. The other official needs to be in charge of freezing our benches. So let's know where we are. In a 2-man mechanic, one official needs to be responsible for control for the play. The other official is responsible for everyone off the field. Now, luckily, the only person that ran from off the field was the coach to grab his player. But even then, we don't want this to happen. We don't want the coach to run on the field to stop a fight. Because as soon as that happens, now the other coach can get involved. Now we have a problem with both coaches being on the field. The other thing is the officials towards the end of this fight altercation started blowing on their whistles. Keep your whistle in your mouth the entire time and be as annoying as possible, as loud as possible. You want to make them so irritated where they just stop just because your whistle is blowing as loud as you can.
Hey,
Now,
Gene,
yeah, go ahead.
this is Alan.
Yeah.
One thing that seems to work well, people have to remember Fox 40s are loud as hell. And if you get a chance, and if you can, and you can get near somebody's ear hole and blow that whistle, they will stop.
Yes. It's just keep your whistle. You see a fight, throw your flag, freeze the bench, and just put your whistle back in your mouth and just don't stop laying on it. Don't stop. Just keep that whistle going the entire time. Myself in my career, I think I've maybe had 4 fights on the field. In only one have I had where I've had people running in from off the field. And in that time, after I froze the benches, I yelled freeze and players ran in. Even though those players didn't participate, that one fight, I ejected 9 players. 2 for fighting and 7 for coming on the field and interjecting in the fight. 9 players ejected from the game. We have to freeze the bench. We do not want more involvement from other players. We do not want more involvement. The other thing is since these are so tense and emotional situations, we're men officiating other boys who have more testosterone than we have in our entire bodies, and they're on the field. They're going to get really, really hyped up. We have to try to de-escalate as quickly and emotionless as possible. We do not want to get involved emotionally in this fight. This is the Virginia Stony Brook brawl. This was 2 years ago, I think, and this fight happens in the worst place possible on the field. Big thing that I want you to watch is the officials and what they do in this situation.
Shot towards the net, saved by Bollinger. That goes off the crossbar. I think that's
balls in the Bermuda Triangle.
The bar.
Legal hit in the
Another
front.
big hit on the sideline here as Robeson gets plowed down. Flags
Push in the
down,
back
Chippy
for
in the middle
possession.
of the field, ball still on the sideline.
Now we have a problem.
And we got a problem here.
Watch the officials.
Refs better get a handle of this. Punches are being thrown. We got.
You see the officials just back out. Now watch what they do.
Both teams in the
They're
middle.
starting to count. They're counting players. They're pointing at players that are throwing punches.
As they're just trying to separate everyone. We've seen it already in this half, both Virginia and Stony Brook with some big hits on each other.
This was a great mechanic. Terrible location for this to occur, but for the situation, these officials did the right thing. One official came in to the middle of the pile, realized he could not do anything initially, and backed out.
Still on the sideline.
Watch the one official run in. He runs in. He realizes he can't do anything. The other official comes in. Then they both just back out. They both just back out. And all of a sudden, now what they're doing is they're doing everything else. You also see this official immediately grabs his scorecard out of his pocket. He's going to start writing down numbers of players so he can remember who participated.
Exactly who's in there as they're just trying to separate everyone. We've seen it already in this half, both Virginia and Stony Brook with some big hits on each other. And as things were going.
This is a super high tense situation. The officials came in, blowing on their whistle, blaring. The official realized they can't stop it. There's too many people involved. This is now a safety aspect for you. Back out, start counting the players. Who's involved? Let's think about this in a very, very smart way. We don't want to become involved and all of a sudden now we're the subject of a punch. I know we want to protect the players, but in this situation, being right here in the substitution box in front of the table, both teams are now involved in the play. Both teams have now left their team areas. Let's make the best safe decision possible, not just for us, but also for the players on the field. Okay, here's the next one. It's an old video and I apologize. I'm going to go forward a little bit because it doesn't happen initially. Okay. So both teams are dark. One's black, one's green. So it's just normal play at first. The goalie is running up the field. Goalie's still running up the field. Goalie makes an awful shot. Decides to get in the face of other players. Now, this wasn't necessarily a fight, but here's the thing. Once the goalie leaves his goal area, he is a normal player on the field. Even though he doesn't have elbow pads, it doesn't matter. He is a normal player on the field. If he decides to go play offense, that is his prerogative. So the main part of this takes place right about here. I looked back at this. This official ejected this goalie. not for throwing a punch, but for an unsportsmanlike altercation. Let's watch it again. He gets hit, gets in the face. There's the first flag. Then he gets in the face again. He ejects him for 2 unsportsmanlike penalties. It's an ejection. Doesn't matter if it's the goalie is ejected. Okay, next one. So short time in the game right now. Now, again, this is another scenario where it's not necessarily a punch thrown, but this is very lazy on this official's part. And this is not me picking on the official. This is very lazy on the official's part. This player gets hit by this defensiveman and then gets dragged down to the ground. And what I see is this player push this player's helmet into the ground. We have multiple instances of fouls that occur on this play. Let me get back a little bit further. So the pass is going to come into the inside. He gets hit, dragged down, and then pushed down again. Not only is this player hit late, he's hit on the ground and then hit again on the ground. If we have multiple penalties, we need to protect the players. This official did not have a flag on the play. You can see this coach is on the field worried about his player. This official and the official over here who has a flag should have run all the way into the play and de-escalate the situation. And I think that, yeah, that's the last one on the fight mechanic. So no matter what, fighting and dead ball fouls are highly emotional situations. Just think about them in the steps that they occur. Slow down, don't get emotionally involved. It's a high tense situation. Becoming emotionally involved in dead ball scenarios is one of the worst things you can do as officials. I know it's hard. Every one of us is guilty of it. But like I said before, if your antagonist makes you the antagonist, they now own you. Don't get emotionally involved in the play. Now we have about 15 minutes left in this training, and the dead ball mechanic was not the only thing I wanted to cover today. I wanted to cover a little bit of the face-off, but since I learned yesterday about the COVID policy, my face-off PowerPoint is now null and void. So I had a 60-slide presentation on face-offs that now I have to go and change for our policies this year. So, but I can still share with you some film study on active face-off control. So, but what I want to do for the next little bit is to answer questions on the dead ball mechanic and restarts and quick restarts. So just to go over them one more time, a quick restart can occur when a defensive player is within 5 yards. A quick start cannot occur if an offensive player is within 5 yards. If an offensive player kills the quick restart, it is the offense's fault, not ours. We are adhering to the rules and regulations of the field. Consistency is key. We were only able to have little less than a month of this rule last season. It was not enough time for players and teams to get used to this new rule that we initiated last year. So in our pregame this season, one of the things that we're going to discuss in our pregame game administrator meeting is the quick restart rule. The other thing that we're going to discuss in our pregame meeting is the 2-minute stick penalty rule. Those were rule changes last year. We need to discuss them this year. Is the quick start mechanic and the 2-minute stick penalty mechanic. Those are the two things we need to discuss in our game administrator meeting with both head coaches and one captain from each team. Only one captain is allowed in the game administrator meeting, not 2 or 3. One captain from each team, one coach from each team, game administrator, and the referee, not the other official, one official. Game administrator meeting and coin toss will take place at the same time. There's no lineup before the game. Next thing is, if we have a violation of the quick restart foul, it is a delay of game penalty, delay of game. It is a flag down, slow whistle. We let play continue. Now, we had that one crazy play where we had a violation of the 5-yard mechanic, delay of game, and then an immediate slash. That's a second flag, kill the play. That means everything that happens after that is now a dead ball foul. So we have live ball fouls and dead ball fouls. So when we adjudicate those fouls, like in that clip, we're going to adjudicate them as live ball and dead ball fouls. We're going to adjudicate them both and separate them out. Does anyone have any questions before I spend about 10 minutes on some face-off game film, just to get used to it? Anyone have any questions for me on the dead ball restarts mechanics? Okay, so we're going to go a little bit into this. Our training tomorrow is over the 3-man mechanic. Since last week we covered the 2-man mechanic, Sundays will be over the 3-man mechanic and the COVID policies. So this is, let me get back to the beginning of it. I apologize. This is the TNLOA training for face-off mechanics and technical fouls. I'm probably going to get about 10 slides into this, and I'm going to call it. This is just getting the main portion of our training for face-offs. The face-off rule, Rule 4.3, is a vital proponent of the lacrosse game. Remember, goals win games, and possession is key, and it all starts with the face-off. The face-off occurs between each quarter of play, at the beginning of the game, and after every goal is scored, unless a foul has occurred in a dead ball scenario. Remember, if we have a dead ball late hit penalty after a goal, there's no face-off after that occurs, because possession is guaranteed to the team that was offended. Some rules and exceptions only apply to the face-off. Pre-game is imperative. Yes, with the COVID situation, we will be having a game administrators meeting and a coin toss. One of the things that we're also going to discuss in the game administrators meeting is that the officials will meet with the face-off players before the game starts. We're going to adhere to the same mechanic that we're going to use on the face-off. When we have this mechanic, we're going to have the players be 6 feet off the line and instruct them through our process of going in, down, backing out, set, blow the whistle. We're going to do the same thing. This is very important at the very beginning of a season for us to have these face-off meetings pre-game. This is a chance for the face-off players to ask questions to us, especially since we're changing the mechanic. Now, again, like I said, the PowerPoint that I showed you is going to go off to all the coaches. They're going to know what we're going to do, but we need to describe it and explain it to them. Rules are constantly changing, and addressing rule changes and procedures alleviates headaches during the game. Explain the rules and the procedures and demonstrate what is going to happen during the game. One mechanic that I've gotten really used to doing is when I tell players to go down to address the ball, the first player that hits the ground is not moving. The second player is. Now, this is going to change this year because we're placing the ball down first. Since we're placing the ball down first, I guarantee 90% of the time, players are going to line up with their head in an illegal position. We want to make sure that ball is in the middle of their cross. Remember, for the face-off cross, the face-off players must have a contrasting color between the head and the top of the glove. They are not required to have a single wrap of tape. There just has to be a contrasting color. The shaft must be a contrasting color between the glove and the head and be no more than 3.5 inches in circumference. What you see up there is a diagram of a crankshaft. They are legal. the crankshaft, it has a weird dimension at the very top of the cross, allowing the player to have a little bit more grip on the ball, on the cross itself. Only a single wrap of tape is allowed, and no tape is allowed on the face-off head. No tape is allowed on the face-off head. Ken supplied the three-man mechanics document on US Lacrosse, the URL for it. It's in the chat if you would like to check that out. Yeah, the three-man mechanic and the two-man mechanic documents are both available on the US Lacrosse main page of the website. Under the officials tab, when you first go to US Lacrosse, you go to boys game, you click officials, and then resources and documents, and that's where you'll find those free documents for you. Here is our two-man mechanic. The F is for the face-off official, and the W is for the wing official. Please note that the mechanic has changed this year with the face-off, but I'm going to instruct it like it would be a normal year. Remember the position of players. The face-off player must always have his back to the goal he is defending. He doesn't attack, he attacks the goal he's going to be attacking. He's facing the goal of attack. The wing official will give the hold signal. Once all players are set, we'll give the ready signal. Remember, holds hand up, ready is direction of attack. Now on the face-off, you can point either direction. It doesn't matter. Just one's hold and one is the ready signal. Our main, in the two-man mechanic, our main responsibilities, the face-off official is responsible for the face-off. The wing official pre-whistle is responsible for both wing lines. Same thing from the opposite side of the field. Face-off official is responsible for the face-off players. Wing official is responsible for the wing players. The wing official will give the hold signal. Once all players are set, we'll give the ready signal. And remember the position of players. The face-off player always has his back to defending his goal. In the three-man mechanic, this is what US Lacrosse wants us to do. But you know as well as I do, if you've done a three-man game, that does not occur. The wing official, in this scenario, the US Lacrosse wants him watching the far side of the field. In actuality, the wing official is going to be watching still both wing sides of the field. The L stands for lead left. That's how US Lacrosse and the three-man mechanics manual explains it, is the lead left. He's the helper on the face-off. The reason his vision is pointed the other direction is only body position. As the lead left on a three-man face-off, his body position needs to be open to the bench side wing. His head can be turned towards the face-off, but his body needs to be facing that direction. The face-off official is still responsible for the face-offs. Our responsibilities and authority on the face-off. The lead left has the green. The face-off official has the blue. The wing official has the pink. So those are the line violation responsibilities. Face-off official will have the far side of the field, the sideline. Lead left will have the restraining line on his side of the field. The wing will have his restraining line and the bench side sideline. Those are the line violation responsibilities for the three-man mechanic. You can read through the additions if you would like to. We're not going to go over the administrating of the face-off because the face-off mechanic has changed this year. But this is what would normally be done in a normal year with our face-off. I don't think there's anyone in our training today who is a brand new official, but normally we would hold the ball in our hand and indicate where we want the players to go down with our toe. Once the players are right up in position, we'll say down. Once they're down in position, we'll place the ball down after we've fixed all their sticks and made sure they're legal. After placing the ball down between their sticks, we put our hand on top of their sticks, say set, and then we back out and blow the whistle. So in this scenario, we could still use this with our COVID mechanic. We need to look for alignment on this. The big thing here is checking and making sure that their sticks are up and down and that they are tops to stops. On our down command, we need to make sure that they're legal. Consistency during face-offs will alleviate violations after the face-off has begun. Tops to stops. So the ball stop of a lacrosse stick needs to be lined up with the scoop of his opponent's cross. Tops to stops. So therefore, when we place the ball down, it's placed directly in the middle of both of the lacrosse sticks, tops to stops. The set command normally comes after. Once the set command is given, even in our COVID mechanic, no player can move. That's why I want us as officials to completely stop our movement when we give the set command. Remain motionless. That means the players and yourself. And then whistle when we start this play off. Now, positioning in neutral zones on the face-off. Our neutral zones exist to keep the player out of that area. No player is allowed to have any part of his body in the neutral zone located to the right of their person. So if the players are lined up, they cannot be in the neutral zone to their right. They are allowed to be in the neutral zone across from them, though. So if we have a player who's lined up right here, he can be in this neutral zone. That is perfectly fine, but he cannot be in the neutral zone to his right. The next part of this is no player is allowed to have their helmet over the head of their opponent or their own cross. They are not allowed to have their helmet. We've gotten every official gets a little lazy with this throughout the course of a game. Remove that aspect of the face-off out because a player is not allowed to use their helmet as a weapon on the face-off. If we move their helmet out of the neutral zone, the area above both of the crosses, both of the cross heads, we're going to alleviate that possible infraction on a face-off. This is an incorrect position on which player? The player on the top or the player on the bottom? Top is on the line. In a face-off, the player can be up to, but not touching the midline. That includes his gloves and his cross. So if the players come down like this, we'll tell the player on the bottom to get closer to the line. We're going to tell the other player to back off of the line. Remember, they can be up to, but not touching the midline on a face-off. This is incorrect positioning. The back of the cross must be perpendicular to the opponent. It needs to be perpendicular to the ground. The white player's cross is straight up and down. The red player's cross is at an angle. This is incorrect positioning. It's something we need to fix before the face-off occurs. Before the face-off begins, both hands must be touching the ground. Players, face-off players, I will always say this, face-off players are trained to cheat. They're going to do whatever they can to gain an advantage. An advantage that some players use is they'll have their backhand floating off of the ground before a face-off starts. Their hands must be touching the ground. The cross doesn't have to be on the ground, but the hands must be touching the ground. Placing the ball. Remember, the sticks are tops to stops, but that ball goes directly in the middle of both the crosses on the face-off. Directly in the middle, not to one side or the other, directly in the middle. Any violation before the face-off shall be a delay of game, or if a face-off player moves after the set command, this is a delay of game. Before you blow the whistle, it is a delay of game penalty. Do not blow the whistle if there is a pre-whistle violation. Stand them up and award the ball. And the last thing I'll cover within this face-off mechanic is this, and then I'll get to that chat question. If we have a pre-whistle face-off violation, the kid moved, he jumped, he moves after the set command, He's rolling forward. Don't blow the whistle. Stand him back up. Point the direction of play. Do not say two different colors. Delay of game, blue ball. This isn't delay of game on white, blue ball. We're only adjudicating one color. If we say two colors in technical foul scenarios, people can get confused. Delay of game, white ball. Delay of game, black ball. We're saying one color, not two. Anytime we adjudicate a technical foul, live ball, dead ball, say one color. Stating two colors can make people very, very confused. One color is all that is necessary while play is occurring. One color. So it is 10:01. I am past my time. If you want to stay on and ask questions, I would love to hear from you. I can go back into any of the PowerPoints you want to. If you want to go back and talk about the COVID policy and look at the face-off mechanics one more time, we can go over that again. Or if you want to look at film one more time, I'm going to stay on for probably another 15 or 30 minutes if you would like to stay on. If not, I've already marked down who has participated in today's meeting. And so I appreciate all of you guys. Remember, Ken has put in the chat the 2-man and 3-man mechanic URLs if you want to check those out. It's always good as officials for us to look over these things. No matter how long we've been officiating, going over the rules again and over the mechanics again is important in continuing our responsibility and continuing our education and training as officials. Since the players' rules are always changing, our rules are always changing, we need to always be up to date on everything we're covering. So if you guys want to head out, you're more than welcome to. If you want to stay on and ask some questions, I'd love to hear from you. But I appreciate you guys participating in today's training. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. Remember, we do have a training tomorrow at 8 o'clock, 8 to 10, over the 3-man mechanics and the COVID policies. Yes, sir. Mr. Woody.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know that they might receive an email about that training in Arbiter, and just like a game, they'll be able to go ahead and acknowledge that they will be attending. So that's something, Gene, you and I are going to send out after this meeting.
Cool.
But I just want to give everybody an advance heads up that you'll just get a meeting reminder, and you'll have to just still go on just like it's a game and say that you will be there tomorrow. You'll see it. It's really simple. You'll get a text and an email. It'll appear under your schedule as well, just like a game.
See, that's something new that I didn't know that Arbiter could do. And then Woody emailed Jeff and myself yesterday. He's like, I can do this. I know how to do this. So that's be something that I'm going to be doing from here on out. As soon as Woody trains me on how to do it, so it's just like a game. It's just like a game assignment. It'll go out to everyone and they can accept it just like a game that they'll be there at a meeting.
That's correct. And then there's information about, because these are Zoom meetings, normally like the event would take place at a location like a field or a restaurant or someone's house. Because it's an event, it will just say that the location is to be announced, but you'll see the link to the Zoom in the description of the event. And you'll also be able to click on it and see in the description, you can copy the information about the Zoom. It'll be pretty easy to use. Very, very nice. Also, since it is the season, the first game of the season in the state of Tennessee is February 24th. No, February 12th. So the season is right around the corner. Please go into your Arbiter and log in and make sure all your information is correct. But also, you will not be assigned a game this season unless you are a U.S. Lacrosse member, you complete the youth boys and boys rules examinations, and take the rules online course. You will not be assigned games. Remember that this year, unlike previous years where we've taken the youth rules and the boys rules separately, this year there is an option to take them together at the same time. The questions are not half and half. They're really like 70-30 on the boys side rather than the youth side. But those youth questions will mess you up. So make sure you have those youth rules in front of you
because I think there's 2 questions on the scrum rule. So make sure you know the scrum rule mechanic with youth. The youth rules you can get for free on US Lacrosse. The boys rules are there's no free book for that one, but we are using the same rule book as last year. There's no additional rules. So the 2020 boys rules are the same for this year. There's no additions to it. Anyone else have any questions? Anything to add, or would like to see any film or go over any of the presentations that I've done today? Okay, well, if you want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. I think Woody's going to stand with me and show me how to do this arbiter thing. But you can head out, and I'll send your assigner the attendance for today's meeting. I appreciate you guys coming. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Hey, Woody and Gene, this is John. I got my text message already. I went into Arbiter, so I don't know if it's been completed or not, but if I go under schedule, it's not showing yet.
John, that was something really interesting. For the people that attended today, I did something slightly different. You got a text message. You got a text message for today's attendance.
Okay.
So I already, there's a way in Arbiter to acknowledge that people attended. So I already put attendance in for today. So that text message you got basically said, oh, I've been assigned a meeting, and the meeting's probably not even visible because I've already accepted you and added it for today. So I hadn't published the one for tomorrow yet.
Okay, so I should expect a second text then.
Yes, you'll get a text. Those 16 or 17 people on this meeting would have been added in the back end for clerical purposes.
Okay, no worries. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
I have something to add before you leave. We are creating a YouTube account. It's in the process this weekend where all of our training videos are going to be uploaded to this YouTube account.
Okay.
The YouTube channel I am going to make as private for the time being until everything gets uploaded and we actually create what we want it to be. So I will be adding everyone in the state's emails to the YouTube account, which will give them a administrative connection on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So, it'll be private throughout this entire season, the YouTube channel for the TNLOA. And then this summer, it'll be made live, public for everyone, because I've collected around 7 hours worth of film study on penalties and adjudications. I want to make sure that they are correct and in the right order and all that kind of stuff before we make it completely public. The GLOA, the Texas Lacrosse Association, Louisiana, they all did the same thing. They were private.
Yeah, I would say the film study piece, I think is fantastic because you get a chance to watch it in slow-mo. You get to go and watch it 4, 5, and 6 times. And as a new official, I always thought that was the best. And even now, I still like doing the film study piece. Go, well, would I call that? Would I not call that? And then talk it through and say, well, I saw this. What did you see? I think that's a great tool.
Well, the other thing is the PowerPoints and all the presentations I've been doing for the last 2 months. On Monday, I'm PDFing every single one of my presentations and putting them into a Google Drive, and I'm going to send everyone access to this Google Drive for the time being. I'm also in the process of individually recording all
in your spare time.
Yeah, I mean, it's on my end. It's a lot of work up front, but I know next year I'll have everything already completed, so it'll be a whole lot easier next year. And hopefully, I'll have another person to help me. I won't just be the only coordinator for training. There'll be someone in every location in the state that'll be able to do all of this. But we are creating a YouTube channel, and I know Tom and Ken have both asked about having the presentations that I've been creating. Everything has been uploaded to a Google Drive, and I'm going to send access to everyone to go in. You can't edit, but you can go in and comment.
Review.
Right. Well, you can go in and comment on slides. So whenever someone comments on a slide or has a question, anyone else can go in and answer the question. It's going to be like an open dialogue over presentation. Okay. So I'm hoping to have that published on Monday. I'm reluctant until I finish all of my presentations, because right now I have 16 presentations. I'll have 20 by the time I'm done that go over the entire rule book. So I want to make sure the entire rule book's done before I publish it, but it will happen before the start of the season. Everything will be published for everyone to check out throughout the entire season.
Okay, great.
All right, y'all. You guys take it easy.
All right, see ya.
See you, John. Hey, Randy, I made you the host so you can share your screen so I can see.
Sure. Do you need to take a break or anything? Run a bio break or anything?
I would love to refill my water bottle and use the
Yeah.
restroom if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This probably will only take 15 minutes max, but yeah, I'll just be
Okay.
chilling.
All right, I'll be right back. Hi, boy. All right. So what'd you think about the presentation?
Man, I think you did great. I thought that was awesome. Like, I haven't been able